Hello, welcome to Mackay. It is a little after 6 o'clock. I've had a pretty big day and I'm actually just getting ready to wind down for the day and hop into bed early. I'm mostly just hanging around waiting for like the final schedule for tomorrow because we all had to check in today. So just to confirm times and everything like that. And in the meanwhile, let's talk through my day. I didn't have an early flight. I had a mid-morning flight and I kind of booked it thinking more of the logistics on the other end, not the actual getting there logistics. So my parents had said, okay, because we're not coming this time. My mum actually was meant to have a doctor's appointment on Saturday when I'd be flying back, and we didn't want to risk, if there was a delay in the flight in the morning and the very first one, that mum might miss it. But then they ended up shifting it anyway. But sort of by then, it was a bit late to get a 2-bedroom apartment or get two, hotel rooms because everything was kind of decent, was booked out. So I just decided to come up without them. But anyway, so they said they'd drop me at the airport, and that was really good. But because I'd picked a 9 o'clock flight, it meant we had to go through peak mid-morning traffic. And yeah, there were all these accidents and whatnot. And for a while there, Google Maps was showing that I was actually going to miss my flight. And I was a bit if it leaves, I'll just get there and see what I can do about it. But then fortunately it did improve a bit, and it looked like I would just make it in time to get to the gate. And my bag was small enough that I probably could have just not needed to check it. But I did actually want to check it because it's kind of annoying to have the backpack and the carry-on luggage. But then by some miracle, all the traffic cleared or something happened, and we actually made it there in plenty of time. And then as I went to check in, they were like, oh, there's a delay on your flight. So there was no need to hurry at all. I had plenty of time to get through airport security, and then I got to sit down and read a little bit at my gate. So that was really good. Getting up here, no dramas, there's no issues with the flight. But something I hadn't considered was that the accessibility of taxis. So I initially, when my parents were coming up, we were like, let's just hire a car for the days. But then when it was only me, I was kind of a bit more like, oh, do I actually need a car? If I have a car and it's me competing, then I have to get myself to the venue, park the car, all that sort of stuff. And while yes, it is a bit easier, and because tomorrow I do have 2 races and they're quite far apart, so a car would mean I could quite easily go into town and then come back to the hotel, whereas it's probably better to come straight back to the hotel in between the races now. I didn't consider that there mightn't be any taxis at the airport. Seriously, there was a few of us that needed taxis off the flight. We walked out there and there was just none sitting there. I'm just used to coming out of an airport and there being taxis. So I looked up getting an Uber, and there was one that was it was showing 45-minute wait for Uber. So we rang the taxi and it was all automated. So just booked a taxi, and a couple came and dropped people off, but they're not allowed to take fares. They have to loop back around or something. They have to do a drop off, and then it must be when I used to work in the taxi industry years ago, you had to go back on and rank up on the rank, and then so the rank supervisor would then say, oh, we need 3 taxis down here. But I don't know why they couldn't do that, because that clearly wasn't happening here. But anyway, thankfully I booked a taxi, and then seriously within 10 minutes one turned up, and I just went straight out to the track, did a warm-up, got my accreditation, and then I just came back to the hotel, checked in really quickly, and I went up to Coles and I got all my drinks, and then I got a late lunch, early dinner, and I've just eaten that, and I've just been chilling all afternoon really. I've done some stretching, I've used my massage gun, and I'm definitely sort of feeling it now. So pretty soon I am just going to jump in, have a shower, and then just have an early night. But I am going to try and hang on to having a shower until after they sort of send out the update for tomorrow, so that I can just schedule everything for tomorrow, because I want to pre-book my taxi in the morning, or pre-book my Uber, whatever's going to be available at the time, just so I know it's coming. Because one of the taxi drivers I did have today did say that they'd been quite busy because of this championships, and there was sometimes a delay on the taxis. So yeah, I'm going to try and book it and leave it with enough time to get up there.
California, but I'm allergic to the rain. What happened to euphoria? Oh, oh, don't worry about it, don't worry about it, damn thing. I'm too excited, dark liquor with the palm trees. It's all or nothing, ooh, it's all or nothing. Ignore the signs and socialize. Come and see what you've been missing on a little slice of heaven. It's the only place we're living. It's that West Coast point of view. Easy when it's always like.
So I've been back for a little bit. I'm back at the hotel now, and I'm gonna head out in a couple of hours back to the track to run my 400, but I just wanted to talk you through my 400 hurdles. So I'm pretty certain at this stage there is race footage. I saw Vic Pascoe there, but if there isn't, I'm sorry. Anyway, basically my race was all right. I ended up winning. There was a pretty strong headwind down the back straight. So what I usually do for the first 5 hurdles is I alternate legs and then I go left all the way home. But because of the wind, I did more right legs down the back than I do. So I just went like left leg, right leg, right leg, right leg. And then I did get the left leg on the 5th hurdle, which is what we would aim for. And then I kind of, because the tailwind started to push me, I started getting right legs again on the way home. So that's a bit annoying. It wasn't a super fast time again. And I think it's just like I was chatting to Russ with it afterwards. And I honestly think it's because when I do starts over hurdles, I do them by myself. So I control absolutely everything. And I was just chatting to I was chatting to Russ, like I said, and I was chatting to one of the other coaches out there, and they were saying like you really need to do starts over hurdles with other athletes because you need to really nail down not only the confidence aspect of things but also the like controlling your race when maybe others are going faster than you. And I completely agree. Like if we look back on some of my better seasons, I've definitely had the ability to either train with people over hurdles as well, or like do starts with people on the flat and then me going over the hurdles. So that was actually something Russ and I identified at sort of the end of last season, and it is something we are working towards. I'm quite lucky. There's a young girl who's moved up from Victoria, Steph, and she's working with one of the coaches out there, and so I'm sure that we'll get to do some work together over the hurdles. And then there's another girl, Claudia, who was up here today racing in a different age group, and they're occasionally out at UQ. So I think it will just be sort of up to me to now like really sort of when I see them out there say, hey, I'm doing this today, are you going over hurdles, could we somehow put together a session together? And I think that's just one of the things, like I was really sort of reflecting on this after the end of the season, and like really I don't want to blame any one particular thing, but since my mum got really quite sick, and it's not something I talk about quite a lot, but I was actually there when her pneumonia turned septic, and I literally saw her be rushed to the ICU, and then I had to give them permission to put her into a medically induced coma, and then I was there when she had the stroke. So it's quite an altering thing, and I guess really since then I've been quite, you know, like I just look after myself, and I'm not as outgoing as I used to be, and I think it was just a little shock of like things like that. But I think now like I need to start like speaking up for myself, like particularly at work. You know, I'm getting better at not being like angry, but saying like, well, hey, that's not really my job, or well, yeah, I can do that, but I'll need to take my personal vehicle to do that. So if this is going to be a continual thing, we're going to need to look at a vehicle allowance, or, you know, reimbursing me in some other way. And yeah, I think that's just like a personal growth thing, and I think it will be the same for the hurdles. There's also a young gentleman out at UQ who started the 400 hurdles last season, and he was with one coach, and I like literally just found out today. I was chatting to Russ about it, and he's changed with another coach, and Russ is really quite good friends with that coach, and I don't think she has any other 400 hurdlers, so I'm sure we'll be able to do like many sessions together. So look, to sum it up, I wanted to run a lot faster than I did, but I think it's like we've really nailed what the problem is. Like, I get quite anxious and nervous before my races, and the reason is because I'm just not practicing the racing situation. I'm practicing the hurdles, but I need to practice the race situation as well. So the plan for the near future is, I've had something to eat. I've only had something small. I'll have something much bigger after my race this evening. I've just checked. I am in the first heat of the 400, and the plan is just to go out really hard, and in that last 100 just grit it all and come down. I'd love to come home with a season's best. That's my goal. And yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to going home tomorrow. I think I've learned something, I think I've learned something else about this, is that I don't actually really like traveling alone. So where possible in the future, I think I'm gonna get like either my mum or my dad or both of my parents to come with me. I think it should be pretty possible if I'm pretty organized and like I get things into like the calendar so that they can come. But yeah, definitely. And you know, sometimes if Russ could come, that would also be good. But yeah, so I'm just doing some recovery now, hanging out in the room, just taking it easy, and I'll head back out to the track in a couple of hours. So it is Saturday morning now, and as you've seen, I've gotten up, I've done a little bit more stretching, I'm now dressed and I'm basically packed, and I'll be heading off to get some breakfast and then go to the airport. I have a midday flight, so I should be home, fingers crossed, without any delays early afternoon. But I did just want to talk you through my second race yesterday. So I did end up winning again. I didn't run a super fast time, and the time I ran was really quite outside what I should be running. But I'm not super disappointed because I had a chat to Russ after the race, and we were just talking about how like mentally I prepared really well for this event and that sort of stuff. And we were just sort of saying like maybe we need to go back and visit the dietitian again. I actually haven't been to see a dietitian in like 4 years, and in that time my life has drastically changed. I went from being basically a full-time student working part-time and training to now working full-time and training full-time. So definitely like things have changed. And then really even in the last year, like my responsibilities at work have stepped up, and like the intensity of training has stepped up, and I think we're genuinely not seeing the progress that we should be seeing, because I just don't think like I'm fueling myself right. And I think that particularly when it comes to race day, we could be doing more. I also don't sleep particularly well, and I do think that could be related back to the food thing again. I'm obviously like not eating foods that are helping my body get a rest. So yeah, so that was really good. But look, overall, it's been a pretty good weekend, you know, poor times aside. And yeah, I think it really reinforces that I think I am moving in the right direction. I still definitely do want to be out here competing and, you know, training at a really high standard. I met some really wonderful people over the week, which is really exciting. Like I said in my last vlog, it's actually really good to look around a race and see people in a similar life space to you represented. And look, you can keep going for a really long time in these Masters events. There was actually a 96-year-old gentleman who threw the javelin yesterday, and let me assure you, he threw that javelin further than I could ever throw it in my life. So, you know, well done to him. The really good thing about it is that I have been invited to an international championships that'll be happening down the Gold Coast in November. So that's very exciting. Definitely come back, do a full review face-to-face with Ross, and that will probably be one of the things we target. So that is really exciting. But pardon me, like I said, right now I'm just going to finish packing up and I'm going to head to the airport. So that will be the end of this vlog. Thank you once again for watching. I really appreciate everyone who does watch. I hope that you'll continue to tune in, and I will see you all in my very next video.